sharing my screen. All right. Perfecto. All right. I'm going to go live here. Scoot this over. All right, cool beans, we're recording. So welcome to the call tonight, guys. If you're on the Zoom, then you can see my slides. If you're on Facebook Live, you're wondering what I'm speaking to, but you'll get great content without seeing the slides. If you were invited to the call tonight, someone clearly thought that you would benefit from this conversation, probably physically, maybe even financially, maybe a little bit of both. So my name is Melissa Hinault, and I am a PharmD, and I'm going to be doing an overview today for you guys, a quick 30 minutes. Really the key topics, I'm going to walk you through the U.S. need for Isagenix, and through a scientific overview, basically an overview of nutrition and the pandemic within our country and many countries. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about the financial opportunity at the end. So if you want to hang on, learn more about the financial opportunity, then please do. So who am I? If you were sent here as a guest, you have no idea who I am. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and my story. So my name is Melissa Hinault, and again, I am a PharmD who resorted to this amazing nutrition that you're considering about 3 years ago. I had absolutely no interest in the business whatsoever. I was just an exhausted mom with 2 kids in diapers, traveling nationally on an airplane, and I was really honed in on my nutrition. I knew what I needed to be eating and when I needed to be eating it. But the problem was with the average lifestyle of most busy Americans like me, it was sometimes hard to do all the meal prepping and stay honest to my nutrition, even though I knew what I needed to do. And I had a couple of stubborn inches of baby weight I wanted to get rid of. And I had insomnia and a foggy head, super foggy head. I had really gotten to the point where I had just kind of yucked it up to just being mom brain, right? And if I'm at this point, I can be really honest about it. At the time, I was having a difficult time articulating it, but I was struggling a lot with the amount of time that I was trading for money in my corporate role. I had a really successful career, I was making plenty of money, but it was at a huge risk or a huge trade-off of not seeing my family and being the present mother that I wanted to be. So here's a little bit about my life. Now I'm 3 years in, but this was, kind of a path I took over 3 years. Within days, I was sleeping like a baby, totally got rid of my insomnia. Mental clarity through the roof. Those of you who use the products know what I'm talking about. I was a better performing employee. I was a better mom, just higher energy, more acuity and tune. Over about 30 days, I lost 6 inches in my waist. Fast forward about 2 years into sharing these products with my network, I actually became debt-free. I had over $100,000 in college loans for my doctorate in pharmacy that I was still paying off, that I was able to pay off completely. And December of last year, through these amazing products and sharing them with other people within my network, not only did I become debt-free, I actually exceeded my corporate income and fired my boss, and now do this, what I say, part-time with full-time pay, and I'm a full-time mom instead. I get to spend a lot of time with my children. I'm still running an international business. I do it from tank tops in my computer at night when my kids are sleeping, but I'm doing it. So that's a little bit about my story. So again, if you're on Facebook Live, you can't see these pictures, but what I have up is really a picture's worth 1,000 words, or whatever that terminology is. What you'll see is this is me on day 1 on the top left-hand corner. You can follow me all the way through to day 940. People say, oh, when do I quit these products? Is it what when do I stop? And, you know, I'm 3 years in, and I say it's a lifestyle. I've never stopped. I don't go a day without using these products because they fill a need, a nutrient need, and a nutrient gap that we'll talk about in a minute. But you can see within the first 30 days, I was able to find my abs for the first time since having children. Day 730, I'm in better shape than I even was in day 30. And then in day 910, I'm 9 months pregnant with my first ISA baby. And 30 days later, I think I had a pretty good rebound and getting back into shape. And I really am not sure where I would be today without that go-to nutrition with the small kids, with 3 kids. Because it's just not realistic for me to have those well-balanced meals 3 times a day. So I'm going to pause here for a minute and just ask the audience, you know, are you living your ideal life? And when I ask, are you living your ideal life, I'm really speaking to physically, you know, is your body an outward example? Our bodies are an outward example of how we treat ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. They're a representation of everyday behavior, day in and day out. Whether we want to admit it or not, our bodies are an outward example of how we live our lives. So are you living your ideal life, right, from a physical standpoint and also from a financial standpoint? And we'll talk about that in a little while. But financially, do you feel like you are set? Do you feel like, you know, you are on the right track? Do you feel as though, you know, college is going to be paid for your kids? If you lost your job today, do you have 6 months worth of savings in your savings account? We do. We've got 6 months worth of our combined incomes in a savings account. And it's funny because I've had conversations with people before. They're like, who has 50 grand just sitting aside? Well, if you've got a side hustle and you're running a phenomenal business, you do, right? And you sleep a lot better at night. Anyway, we'll talk about that. So going into market trends. So what I want to jump into is I'm going to talk a little bit about the market trends in the US with nutrition right now and overall health and where we are and why Isagenix is a solution. So it's really sad to say that over 69% of adults in North America are considered overweight or obese. Overweight or obese. I was in a seminar not too long ago that actually said that 55% of healthcare providers are clinically obese. If that doesn't raise an alarm, I don't know what does. It's kind of like, you know, to have an obese physician guiding you on your health and life is kind of like, to me, it's like a financial planner who's in his 60s giving you guidance on retirement. I'm like, dude, you're still working. I'm not sure I want your advice on retirement and investments if you're in your mid-60s, because I want to be retired before then, right? So anyway, that's just a little bit about the status quo in the United States. Almost 70% of Americans are overweight and obese. So why is that? And that's what I'm going to talk about. That's like the meat. That's just like the meat of the conversation. So we're going to talk about nutrition and the diets that are out there and the environment and what's creating this obesity. And I'd like to really then go back and talk about how our products really have the solution. I'm going to look ahead for 1 second. Yeah, there we go. So let's start with the nutrient depleted corrupt food chain supply. And you'd have to have your head in a hole not to understand or believe that we are in a nutrient corrupt environment. Our food is so filthy that we have to have a stamp on it that says organic to make most people feel safe to eat it. Actually, a lot of our foods are banned from other countries. I find it kind of ironic that like Kraft mac and cheese is not allowed in Europe, not the way it's manufactured in the US, because of it's the dye, the yellow 5, a couple of other things that are in the ingredients. They won't allow it in their countries, but they're allowed in our countries. And so it's the GMOs, it's the pesticides, the herbicides. We're going to talk a lot about it, but regardless of all of that, it's the minerals, the lack of minerals in the food that we eat. You can be on a Weight Watchers diet calculating points. You can be on a Beachbody diet calculating proportions. The problem is even the food that you're getting into your body is corrupt. The analogy I give is that a bowl of spinach today has like 55% less iron in it than it did when my parents consumed spinach. And that's because of the way the soils are. It's the way the crops are. It's the way, that's just what's available in the US today and how our crops are being harvested. So fast forward, the solution. And that's where I really like to talk about our nutrient-rich shakes. We are way more than just a shake company, but what I will tell you is our shakes are unsurpassed in the nutrition that they have inside of them. We have a component called ionic alfalfa, and ionic alfalfa actually has 70 trace minerals in it. You know, I think it's really tremendously good for your thyroid. It's good for thyroid health. It's good for overall health. If you know much about enzymes and the activity in your body, they require minerals. They're like a key that unlocks the enzyme to allow them to go. So your body's operating more efficiently. So that's the one thing about our nutrition when it comes to minerals. Secondly is the protein. All proteins are not created equal. I want you to go look at the labels and do some research. People think, oh, I'm drinking protein, I'm being healthy. Hello, the cows in the US, they're sick. They're pumped full of hormones. They're pumped full of antibiotics. They're milked year-long. They're milked year-long in a stall. They're given corn instead of grass. They're inflamed. They're sick. They're not free roaming. And then most whey in the United States is derived from those sick cows. Then they go through a high heat pasteurization process, which denatures, which for those of you who aren't in the science world, it breaks down the beautiful innate branched chain amino acids so that they are no longer in their normal form. And so what happens as we as Americans who think we're being healthy consuming this whey protein are just consuming sick cow protein that's been denatured and it's not in its natural state anymore. And that's not what you get with Isagenix. I like to say that our products are like the Ferrari of cars. They're like the Louis Vuitton of handbags. And they really are. It's the quality of what you get. So our cows are from New Zealand. They are not corn-fed. They are grass-fed. They are hormone-free. They are antibiotic-free. And guess what? They're only milked in season. What does that mean? Mammals aren't designed to produce milk their entire lives. Just think about it. Moms don't do that. Why would cows? Cows do because they're stimulated unnaturally, and then whey is derived from that. Not our cows. Our cows only produce in season, and they're healthy, they're happy. And so what you get is this super clean protein source it's undenatured, right? Because we don't go through a high heat pasteurization process, because we don't have to. You know why we don't have to? Because the cows are healthy. We don't have to get rid of all the sickness. So we go through an ultra cooling process, which is similar to what they do with the juices, the cold press. And they come out in their natural state, which is why people thrive on our system. They thrive. Another thing I love about the shakes is that our shakes actually shift the body's pH. You can get a urine stick and you can start on day one, do our 30-day challenge and follow your pH and see what happens. Your body's going to shift from a more acidic state to an alkaline state. It's been clinically proven to neutralize the body's pH within 2 days. That's the quality of our nutrition. You can't get this in a perfectly proportioned meal. You just can't. There's live active enzymes once you add water that are tremendously good for gut health. So I could go on and on, but that's just a little bit about the gap of a nutrition standpoint that our company offers. Secondly is acidity. So a lot of Americans, the standard American, has a very acidic diet. It has to do with the processed foods, the alcohols, the crap they put in their coffees, the type of coffees that they're drinking. And what we know is that in an acidic environment, cancer thrives, illness grows. Have you ever noticed how over the holidays, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and even after Easter or Halloween, notoriously people in my family get sick. And it's because of all the crap that we eat that gets our bodies and our immune systems down because we're acidic and we can't fight illness as well. There's been studies that have shown that cancer, if you put cancer in a petri dish it can't propagate, it can't grow and divide in an alkaline environment, but it can in an acidic environment. So this is science, guys, that we're not making up. We know that cells operate preferably at a higher caliber and healthier in an alkaline state and can stave off illness, okay? So that's the second solution within our nutrition, is creating that alkalinity. And we'll talk about this in a minute, but our cleanse for life and our detox process actually helps contribute to that. Third component is chronic inflammation, right? How many of you know someone with an illness that's connected to inflammation, whether it's rheumatoid arthritis, whether it's Crohn's, irritable bowel, maybe it's more of an inflammatory disorder you don't typically think of as inflammation, but diabetes, dyslipidemia, which is with your cholesterol is high. These all are inflammatory issues. Americans are massively inflamed for a number of reasons, mostly diet related. A lot of it has to do with our choices in lifestyle. And so we, again, as part of our 30-day solution, really attack the inflammation. And the way we do that is through our Ionix Supreme. So those of you who study a little bit of holistic medicine have heard this term before, but it's called adaptogens. Write it down, go research it. Guys, I come from clinical research. There are phenomenal studies being published about adaptogens in the human body right now as we speak. Adaptogens have been proven clinically to reduce cortisol production in humans. What we see is that it's an herb, it's a component that's produced in plants, and we see in plants that what it's doing is it's actually reducing stress. It's reducing stress at a cellular level. What we're seeing in humans is the same thing. It's allowing us to adapt to stress day in and day out at a cellular level. The term we use is oxidative stress. So we're reducing oxidative stress at a cellular level. But the other thing that we're seeing that's really interesting is it's really, really supportive of the thyroid and thyroid health. We have a lot of folks who come in with like Hashimoto's, hyper or hypothyroidism. I'm not going to claim that we like treat or cure or heal any of those illnesses, but what I can tell you is that when there's a gap in certain components of nutrition and you fill that gap and it's contributory to that chronic illness, you're going to see some changes in symptoms that's pretty freaking phenomenal. And the last thing I'll say about this is, have you guys heard the term cortisol? Like, it's a stress hormone in our bodies. What I love about our system is this adaptogen-rich herb that I'm speaking of, Ionix Supreme, has been shown in our clinical studies to actually reduce cortisol production. The crazy thing is, the average adult, the average human, we're supposed to produce the most cortisol in the morning when we wake up. And then as the day goes on, our cortisol production is supposed to slowly drop so that by the end of the day, we're getting ready for bed and we're winding down and we sleep well. The problem is, it's actually the complete opposite in most people right now, today. Instead, we wake up in the morning and we live such fast-paced lives. From the moment you try to get out the door, the moment you get to work, it's nonstop, nonstop, nonstop. And then when you get home and you come through the door, if you've got kids especially, it's nonstop again to the moment you get the kids to bed. If your job is really crazy after the kids are in bed, you power back up your computer and you're working again for corporate America or whatever, corporation or place that maybe you own your own business, but you're working crazy hours. Maybe you're not and you're blessed, and that's awesome. High five, because I'm there too. But the problem is, the average American has huge issues with cortisol production. And a lot of it is because of their stress. And what we're seeing with Ionix is that it's actually reversing the cortisol production and bringing it back down where it's supposed to be at the end of the night. Hence why me, an insomniac who took Ambien for like 8 to 10 years, chronically, because I could not sleep, within 8 days of doing this 30-day nutritional rebalance, the first time 3 years ago, I was sleeping like a baby. To this day, I sleep like a baby, and I attribute it 100% to this nutrition. That's the only thing I've completely changed and stuck to over the past 3 years. And I guess I should tie a little bow around it and say, because I don't think I even said this, I'm just assuming everybody knows this, but cortisol plays a huge role in sleep disruption. It keeps you awake at night. And it also, high levels of cortisol cause you to keep fat in your midsection. You hold on to it. You can't release it. So that's also, I think, how I lost 6 inches in my waist over the first 30 days and have kept it off, minus a baby, and I'm back there again. Okay, that's chronic inflammation. I think I've hit that. The fourth component, so we've talked about nutrition being corrupt. We talked about acidic diets. We've talked about chronic inflammation. The fourth component is the toxicities that we're exposed to. And I hit on this just a little bit when I talked about nutrition, but it goes far beyond nutrition because we can buy organic, we can take our organics and we can wash everything with vinegar, which I do. We're still being exposed day in and day out with our cleaning materials, with our makeup, with our hair products, with the mattress that you smell every night when you go to bed. I live in the city, so I've got tons of pollution that I'm breathing in. Maybe it's the microwave dinners my parents fed me when I was growing up. But the bottom line is that we have especially heavy metals that are stored in the fat tissue of our body. Our bodies don't do a very good job of excreting toxins, but they do a really good job of hiding them. What they do is they neutralize them. So toxins have a charge, and our bodies put little fat molecules all around it, neutralize it, and then store it, especially in that visceral area, that midsection, again, where we tend to gain fat, unhealthy fat. And so the fourth component of our 30-day system is the Cleanse for Life. It's a botanical rich drink that's also loaded with aloe vera, which is super soothing to the gut. We have really helped to establish really good gut health during those first 30 days with this Cleanse for Life. What the botanicals do, let me just take a step back and talk about intermittent fasting because it's something I love. So intermittent fasting is not new to Isagenix. Intermittent fasting has been around for centuries. If you're religious or you know of certain religions, you know that people fast to cleanse the body for religious reasons. Well, there's actually a lot of science behind it. If you want to go research it, go to the New England Journal of Medicine this year, 2018, phenomenal publications on intermittent fasting. We know that intermittent fasting prolongs life. It boosts your metabolism. It boosts the human growth hormone. It's going to cause weight loss. It's going to increase your energy. I just came off a 2-day cleanse. So we know that intermittent fasting, set Isagenix aside, we know that intermittent fasting is going to contribute to overall health, better health. You're going to age more youthfully. We know this. You can live up to 10 additional years if you incorporate intermittent fasting. Isagenix is just brilliant because they've been doing it for 16 years and they've paired it with the perfect system to make it tolerable, and not only tolerable, but creating a really high success rate where people don't feel like they're completely starving themselves when they go through the process. So what we do is we pair it with our Cleanse for Life. It's a botanical rich drink that's loaded with antioxidants. So as you go through that intermittent fasting phase, while you're refraining from eating, your liver really performs 2 major functions. It helps to detoxify the body and it aids in digestion. So when you remove digestion, then you're able to detoxify at a high rate. When you pair that with Cleanse for Life, which is loaded with botanicals, you're going to sequester all those free radicals that are being released as you're detoxing. So without Cleanse for Life, you can detox. Without Cleanse for Life, you can fast. The problem is you're going to release those heavy metals, you're going to release the toxins, and you're going to feel like crap because your body doesn't have the adjunct pairing of the antioxidants to go out and grab those toxins and get them out of your body as quickly as possible. However, you're just releasing them, and then it takes longer to get them out, right? So when you pair them with Cleanse for Life, you're expediting the process. But not only are you expediting the process, the aloe vera helps soothe the gut and create and establish phenomenal gut health, which is why we have a huge following with gut disorders. If you have a gut disorder and you're listening to this now, I challenge you to check this out for 30 days. It will change your life. Okay, so that is just, so let me kind of tie a bow around that as well. So we know that a lot of that visceral fat comes from toxins in our midsection because our bodies are storing it in that like in the gut area. As we detox, you begin to shed that visceral fat and release it, along with shifting your body's pH from acidic to alkaline with the shakes that we talked about. And voila, you have a more lean body. Not only is your body more lean, so you've got more dense protein that you're consuming to create more dense muscle mass, but you're shedding visceral fat, right? It's science. It works. It's goof proof. We have a 100% money back guarantee in the first 30 days. And guess what? We have an 87% reorder rate. 87. Our company knows that if you follow the system, you're going to get phenomenal results. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to say on this is that when we talked about the health crisis, we know our food's corrupt. We know it's acidic. We know people suffer from inflammation. We know we're exposed to toxins. But what many of us don't even really think about, because we're so busy in our lives, is just that, our fast-paced lives. Fast-paced lives that allow us no time to have a meal prep. I had a conversation with a friend today who owns a boutique right down the street. And she was saying, it would be so nice to be able to just come home and take time to prepare a really healthy meal. But for those of you on the line, I would like to ask, how many of you have time to prepare a healthy meal Monday through Friday? Nobody does. Nobody that I talk to does. Maybe you spend your weekends meal prepping, and I do sometimes still. But the reality is we live these fast-paced lives. Even though we want to be healthy and we want to eat well, we end up running out of time at the end of the day and then ordering takeout for the family, or putting a frozen pizza in the oven, or giving the kids chicken nuggets, not giving the healthiest food. So am I saying that our family lives off the shakes? Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is that in our fast-paced lives, I now give myself a free pass to maybe 2 nights a week to slam a shake, because life is crazy, while I'm feeding my children earlier, a fairly nutritious meal, and getting them to bed and then getting me to bed. Maybe it's during the day. You live a extremely fast-paced life during the day. I've done that. I've done that grind where I literally had no lunch break and I was on conference calls all day long. And it was nice to be able to just sip on something that I knew was phenomenally nourishing my body versus wreaking havoc on my body. Okay. That's my soapbox. Okay. So in summary, the result of this whole massive health crisis with our company, whose goal is to improve world health, is when you do the 30-day system, and then obviously you go into maintenance, which is a whole nother conversation, what you're going to see is a reduction in visceral fat. You're going to see a shift in energy to a higher energy level. The sleep disturbances are going to go away. You're going to see enhancements in the gym. So for me, I am in the best shape of my life, guys. I hit PRs on a monthly basis. I'm 38 years old. I've had 3 kids, and it has 100% to do with my nutrition, our performance line, and the sleep that I'm getting. Clear-headed. I'm more clear-headed than I've ever been, and I'm living. I'm wringing every drop of life out of my life. So that's kind of the the opposite of what we're seeing in the U.S., which is the visceral fat, the low energy, the bad sleep, the inhibited performance at the gym, people having a foggy head. I'll tell you, a lot of people just don't go to the gym because they're so tired, right? They're just exhausted. They know they need to go to the gym. I guarantee you, if you could work on your nutrient timing and you could nourish your body in a better way and get better sleep, you'd have the energy to get to the gym. And I challenge people to do that a lot, who come to me and they're like, I want to change my nutrition and I'm going to get to the gym. And I'm like, you know what, let's do one thing at a time. Let's get your nutrition right first. Let's get your energy levels up. And then you're going to want to get up before the alarm goes off. And then you're going to make it to the gym. Okay. All right. So I kind of discussed all of it and put it into in a bow for you, but here's just a little picture. If you're on the Zoom call, you can see this is our 30-day system. I highly recommend the value pack, because what happens is you're getting what I call the pillars of isogenics. You're doing the 30-day system, so you're flooding your body with nutrition. You're flooding it with the ionics for inflammation. You're detoxifying the body with the Cleanse for Life, but you're also getting the blender. You're getting our state-of-the-art vitamins. For those of you who are science geeks, Go research product B. It's now called Isagenesis. The science behind it won a Nobel Prize in 2008, 2007. It has everything to do with our telomeres, the end caps of our chromosomes, and how it's prolonging life. I've got a lot of cardiologists and cardiothoracic surgeons who swear by this product. So I highly recommend. The value pack is going to set you up for the greatest success in your first 30 days. And then from there, it's maintenance. You know, for me, I incorporate a shake a day, typically breakfast, and then I cleanse once a month to keep my toxin levels low, and I drink Ionics on a daily basis because I truly believe in the adaptogens and the science behind them and what they do for me for inflammation and stress. And the system in the first 30 days works in harmony to really attack the health crisis. Now, you may be on the line saying, I'm super fit, I'm super healthy, I eat really clean. Why would this ever apply to me? The reality is it applies to everyone. Our 30-day system, we went and did a 30-day cleanse with the most in-shape athletes. And what we found was a heightened performance, an improved muscle mass, a loss in visceral fat. So even the most lean athletes have adipose tissue in their organs. And we found when we did body scans in a 30-day system that we're able to actually pull away those heavy metals and the deep fat in the organs. So don't think that if you are in great shape that this isn't for you, because if you look back at my pictures, I was not overweight. I was a paleo eater. I ate super clean. I was doing CrossFit. I was training for a half marathon. I thought I was a poster child for good health, but I was totally lacking in energy. So I still challenge you to check it out. So that is, okay, so that's pretty much it about the product. I will wrap up, given that I am a scientist at heart, and say that we do have a head-to-head against the Heart Healthy Diet. It's 52 weeks, and when I say head-to-head, I should say we have a study. I challenge you, if you're using some other products, to go look at their research. I come from clinical research, so this is one of the reasons I love this company, because they put their money where their mouth is. But we did a 52-week study against the Heart Healthy Diet, and the results are profound. In patients who were on Isagenix, 56% more weight loss, 47% more fat loss, twice as much visceral fat loss. It is. First of all, the studies are unheard of in nutrition companies to do a 52-week study because they're terrified of what the results will show. Because you can put someone on a donut diet and they can lose weight if you restrict calories. There's crazy diets out there that restrict all kinds of food groups. And you can lose weight for a little while, but then you rebound. And what we show and we prove is in 52 weeks, people didn't rebound. They blew it out of the water and were healthier and more adherent to the program than the Heart Healthy Diet, which is what the government, is recommending. So, okay, so that's that. I will say quickly before we talk into how to get your products paid for, is that we are a health and wellness company. We are a one-stop shop. Although I'm talking about the 30-day system tonight, we have a plethora of products that really have replaced a lot of our pantry and in our bathroom. So we've got a skincare line that's plant-derived. Our performance line is super clean. I was able to use it when I was pregnant with my physician's approval. We've got our own coffee line, energy line, as well as other products. So I highly recommend, those products as well. Okay. So I've talked about the nutrition ad nauseam. Hopefully, I've got my notes here because I'm a nerd. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully, you understand the reality that Isagenix is the Ferrari of all cars, and it is the Louis Vuitton of all handbags. It is the pedestal of nutrition in the nutrition world. So now I'm gonna segue into at least how to eat for free. So before you jump off, if you want to learn how to eat for free, I'd love to share that with you, and beyond. So if you're curious as to how I've become so financially successful that I've been able to break away from corporate America and live a life by my design and do this in my tank top on a Wednesday night and call it work, hang on, because I'm gonna talk to you about it. Okay, So the first of all, if you just want to hear how to eat for free, we've got a little picture here if you're on the Zoom, but we just call it you share, they share. The difference between direct sales and a standard product that's being sold in on the market is that in direct sales, people are compensated based on referrals, and companies don't pay for marketing. So instead, you get the referral. And that's what I love about the you share, they share. If you come in and join Isagenix on a 30-day system, and you introduce these amazing products to 2 other people in the same week, especially with the value pack, which is my favorite pack, the company's going to give you a total of over $500 when it's all said and done for referring 2 people into the company to start the products. And you may think, well, first of all, that's crazy. That's a lot of money if you think about it. I mean, that's how much money I used to make PRN as a pharmacist for a day after taxes. I would make $500 after a 12-hour shift behind glass away from my kids. And with Isagenix, I can share with 2 beautiful souls how this nutrition can change their life in a matter of minutes and be compensated $500 for it. Blows my mind. It still blows my mind. And the reality is the reason the company can do that is because our reorder rate is 87%. The company knows if you put this nutrition in your body, they know if you do the system for 30 days, there's an 87% chance you will be a lifelong customer. So it's a great investment. And so, I go back to this is direct sales. So it's no different than, and I had to wrap my brain around this because coming from the clinical world where I got my doctorate and it's all like stuffy. And when I first started in this industry, I had a lot of issues with accepting the fact that network marketing was a real industry and a real business. Cause I'm like, I got my doctorate and this is what I do. And that's not professional. And it's so like stupid of me I didn't know that this was a real business, a real legitimate big business. And the reason it's big and the reason it's brilliant is because, think about it. If you have I think about my hairstylist. If I have a really good hairstyle experience or color, every time I'm in there, she says, refer a friend and I'll give you 15% off your next haircut. Refer a friend, I'll give you 15% off your next hair color. What if I referred a friend and every time my friend came in to get her hair done, I got 6% profit of your profit? What if every time that sounds like a much better deal than 15% off next time. Because if I send you someone and they love your service and they stay on with you for the next 15 years, I'd much prefer 6% of your profit every time she comes to get her haircut. And that is what direct sales for Isagenix is all about. We don't pay money to market. We don't pay money to put advertisements out there. All the money the company has to use for marketing goes directly into the pockets of the most enthusiastic product user who shares. Bottom line. So the way I'll break it down to you, because it's probably still really mysterious to you, like, okay, great, Melissa, so you get $500 for introducing 2 people to Isagenix, but how are you making a multiple 6-figure income, sitting at home doing this? Because I know that's not paying the bills, just introducing people here and there. The reality is it is, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the front end and the back end compensation. So that's what I'm going to talk about here in a second. And again, I just want to make sure I've got all my notes right here. So the front end compensation is linear. It's the referral bonuses that we just talked about. So you introduce a friend and our company says, thank you for introducing your friends. We hope they have a phenomenal experience. Here's a referral bonus. If you introduce 2 friends on a value pack in 1 week, Monday to Sunday at midnight, we're going to give you $450 the first time you do it. Annual cycle, that's a whole nother thing. But so you'll get over $500, and we'll do that every single time. every single time. That is what we call front-end compensation, because when you first come into this business, you have to create a customer base. You have to introduce it to your network. But as you begin to create a network that's consuming the products, the company's going to give you linear pay, where they pay you for introduction. Now, that's the front-end compensation. The other couple things I love about our front-end compensation is that we also have rank advancement bonuses. So you get paid as you rank advance. We have bonuses for personal growth in your business. So all of this is put in your pockets as you're building your business. But then, as you begin to introduce and you begin to share, what's going to happen is your network's going to have a phenomenal experience. And as they have a phenomenal experience, they begin to share. And this is the piece that took me a while to wrap my head around, but it's our back-end compensation, where over a period of time, you create a critical mass of consumers. A critical mass of consumers who are enjoying the products. I told you, we have an 87% reorder rate. People find that this nutrition replaces some of their groceries. It's part of our grocery bill. We eat the protein bars. My kids love the shakes. We use the vitamins. I have eczema, so I love the skincare line. Very simple. It's a one-stop shop wholesale account. It's like Amazon. I'm getting my groceries at my front doorstep. And when you introduce your network to this, and they introduce their network, what begins to happen is this beautiful snowball effect. Remember how I said the company gives you 6%? Bottom line, they give you 6% of their profit for every piece of volume that runs through your center. That's the most simplistic way I can explain it. So I've been consuming and building a business for 3 years. And I have a critical mass of about 3,000 consumers. I have only personally enrolled maybe 60, maybe 150, 160 people in 3 years. But because we share a team, and I won't get into that tonight, but we have shared team volume, I have over 3,000 people on my team. And for everyone who's consuming, those 3,000 people who are consuming those groceries, the company gives me every day, whether I work or not, as long as I'm actively consuming the product, they give me 6% of their profit every day. Some of my biggest paychecks in Isagenix were when I was on maternity leave last year, when my corporate company wasn't paying me a penny. To this day, those were some of my biggest paychecks. I went 3 months without enrolling a single person because I took some time out to be with my babies. Took some time out. But guess what? That's what I love about residual income. This is what I'll land on, that most people don't understand. And I am here to just shout it from the rooftops. There is a huge difference between linear income and residual income. Don't be fooled that when you're trading time for money day by day, even if you have a significantly high salary like I did, don't be fooled that you're financially free. Because I know I wasn't. They could rip the rug out from under me at any moment, and my salary would stop. My territory would change. They could tell me I have to report to a different place. That, my friend, is linear income that is not financially free. Residual income is a concept where you build something once. I have spent 3 years building a customer base of consumers who continually consume the product. And I built it once, and I don't have to go back to it. Meaning, I have this weekly paycheck on Mondays. The company gives me a 6% cut every week, whether I work or not. Now, clearly, I'm passionate about it, and I'm still building it, and I'm coaching, and the best is yet to come. But the reason I'm saying this is because we say you build it once, get paid forever. Build it once, get paid forever. It's so different than what we are trained in college. In college, you got to go to your 9 to 5. You got to show up at the hospital, or you got to, whatever it is, you got to report to your computer, and you got to put in your hours, and you only get this amount of vacation time. You only get this amount of time in the morning and this amount of time at night with your kids. And other than that, your soul is sold to your job, your job. Well, I'm here to tell you, bull honky. I'm 38 years old. I've exceeded my corporate income. I work about 10 to 12 hours a week, and I'm loving the lifestyle that I have with my children and my family, where they come first, but I'm also building a phenomenal business that's lucrative, that has the morals that I can stand behind, and making a massive impact on world health. So I close with that. Not sure what I will land on is, if you have questions, please go back to the person who referred you to this webinar. I'm not going to open up for questions tonight, just for the sake of time. But please feel free to go back to the person who brought you on the line tonight, and we look forward to you joining this movement, this incredible movement, and this incredible team. You guys have a great night.